This is just on, let me go ahead and get this recorded. So this is the build a website or website design in Gutenberg. So what we're going to go over really in this course is just really basic web design. You know, how to install WordPress and how to install Gutenberg and how to install the plugins. What plugins, if any, do we even use when it comes to Gutenberg, and how do we get those optimal page speed? Okay. And I'm going to show you all some examples. Brian's going to actually be doing a lot of the demoing and a lot of the screen sharing and the walkthrough. And, you know, I'll do a lot of the talking and answering of questions and stuff like that. But because we're going to be doing a lot more of this for web design. I mean, because there's different things are done for different people. Like, I believe, I don't know if it's you, Trevor, or somebody asked me and specifically about a real estate website or something. Was it you, Trevor? Okay, yeah. So like a real estate website is not my normal $350 price. And it's because like real estates are just extremely hard to even do. You know, it's not like you're just a basic services website. It's going to be, I need to put IDX and MLS and all these other crap in there. And like the example he gave me, that specific site just had a ton of plugins, which is unnecessary if you just do it a certain way. But we're going to go and get started. Let me pull up, and I do have a SOP for y'all. So y'all do get this SOP. It's literally step 1, step 2, step 3, and everything. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to show y'all a website, and we're going to pull up, pull this up for y'all so y'all can see it. So we're going to open up a incognito window so y'all can see this. I know it's kind of hard to believe sometimes, but this just is a dental marketing SEO website. It's got a lot of quote unquote content. Just a lot. This is just one in specific. Let's go to about us page. You know, it's just typical stuff. They're specifically gearing towards, you know, dental clients and dental marketing. Okay. But the point of what I want to show you, if you ever want to know how to find out someone's core vitals, go to the website, right click, hit inspect. I don't need to do any specific, you know, plugin. I don't need an, you know, an extension or nothing. Just right click anywhere in the white space and hit inspect. This window is going to pop up, right? And you see at the top right where it says Lighthouse. Click on Lighthouse and then hit generate report. It's going to spit out a report and tell you, for example, what are your core vitals? Your core vitals are very important because of the sheer fact of this was Google's latest algorithm update. Okay. So performance is 100, accessibility is a 97, best practices is 100, and SEO is a 93. I know that's kind of unbelievable, but it's believable. It's right there. You saw it in front of your face. So let's go ahead and we'll even take this and I'll go into Facebook group and post it so everybody can see it because no one believes it. You know, it's kind of, they're like, no way. You know, Elementor and Divi, you'll never accomplish that with it. Not on the core vitals. Now, if you do have Elementor, there is something called Nitro Pack that is awesome to get your GT metric scores up, but sucks when it comes to core vitals. Okay. So what we're going to be doing, we're going to be building a site just straight out in core vitals, you know, not core vitals, but specifically so we can get our core vitals where they need to be in Gutenberg. So give you an example. Let's just look up any website, right? We're just going to pick a random website. I'm not picking anybody in particular, nothing, but let's go to this one. This is built in Elementor. I know it's built in Elementor because we built it. This is for an agency. So normally, typically, if you look at a website, you know, what we have here is this is going to be your header area, generally where their menu's at. You want it to be a sticky menu. This is called a sticky menu. Sticky menu means when I scroll, it follows me. And you hear me say this a lot in the GMB Reloaded class, right? And why do we want this? And I want some feedback. So give me a comment because I want some chats going on here. Give me 1 second here. If you have questions, once again, just type it into the chat, okay? Trevor, if you have a, yep. If you have any questions, just send it to me. But so for example, how many of y'all know, if you put in the chat, how many of y'all know, give me a 1, why do we want a sticky menu? Why do we want the sticky menu? Okay, because I say this over and over and over again. I just want to make sure people are paying attention type of a deal. The sticky menu is because honestly, and I don't mean this in a rude way, but you have to treat people like they're idiots. Because what happens is when I scroll, if this doesn't stay up here, most people are going to be like, well, how the hell do I contact this person? And I don't see a contact button. But if I have a sticky menu and it's following my ass everywhere I go, then they're going to see the free estimate. They're going to see the phone number. They're going to see all this information, right? Then this area is what normally people call the hero area. This is a very important area because number one, you want your H1 header up here to have your location and your keywords you're trying to go after. In his case, he's trying to go after roofing, decks, patio pavers in the greater Maryland area. Do sticky menus, well, sticky menus are a little bit different on a mobile, as well. You're going to have a hamburger menu. It's not going to be a quote unquote sticky menu, and that follows you everywhere anyway. So once again, if you have any questions, make sure to use the form that I've already dropped in chat. But this is called the hero area, or what I use is old school term in SEO. This is called whatever you see above the fold. So when you're building a website, one of the other things we want to keep in mind is we want to build it for SEO purposes. So we want to keep in our head that the most important part of this site is what I see when I come to it immediately, not when I scroll, not when I look down, but what I see as soon as I come to it. What's in the header, what's in the line of vision, okay? Because what you're trying to do is get Google's attention and say, this site is about what? It's about roofing, decking, patio pavers, where? In greater Maryland. Okay. And then I use subtext underneath of it. And all of that is in the line of vision that Google's bots are going to see. Right. Then everything below it, think of it this way. This is your intro. If you're writing content, this is your introduction. This is your body or your bullet points, where all your bullet points about what this website's going to be about, right? And then the very bottom is your outro, which is, I want you to get a quote, and these are all hyperlinked over to my location pages. And I have my map embedded, and I have a keyword insertion in my map, and then I got my footer. So we got our intro, our bullet points, or body, and then our outro, which is our footer. All right. We're literally going to take, and this is where Brian's going to take over a lot of this, is we're going to let him do this as example. We're going to take a blank website, a blank URL. We're going to install WordPress on. This is pretty much what we're going to do today. Install WordPress on it. And then we're going to show you the plugins we use. And then we're going to show you the templates we may use, etc. Okay. And we're going to take it one step at a time. I'm going to go ahead and give you access, Brian, so you can start screen sharing and unmute yourself as well. And I'm going to enable you to screen share. Okay. So right now we're with Hawk Host, right? And I've told y'all umpteen times I'm with Hawk Host for a very specific reason, and that's because of the sheer fact that every time we use SiteGround, it's not enabled us to quote unquote, um, if you will, they've had viruses or whatever. And my main IT guy had to get rid of all those viruses. Okay, because SiteGround wouldn't even help us do anything, even though I was on the maximum plan, paying like $6,000 a year, etc. So, regarding shared hosting, I don't use shared hosting. I have the max, I have the like platinum, and then I also have a town program. I'm actually getting rid of my 16 gigabyte lax, which I pay 149 for. Mind you, we close to, we had at one point, I mean, probably close to about 500 or 600 sites on it. If you do not have a hosting program, I would definitely tell you to go with HawkHost because they're very good with their hosting. They're very good with their customer responses and everything. So what we're going to do in this case, we don't have an actual domain name, but we do have, we're going to set up a subdomain name. Let's say, for example, you had willywonka.com or whatever. What we're going to do is we're going to install WordPress, the first thing. So if you have any questions, make sure to drop them in on that form that's in the chat, and I'll be answering them. So Tony, if you need some Hawk host or you need some hosting, email me and I will definitely send you a link. And yes, I'm an affiliate of Hawk host, but I'm only affiliate because after being through GoDaddy, being through SiteGround, and being through Bluehost, I finally settled down with HawkHost. And I can tell you weaknesses about all of them. So the form I'm referencing, Dan, you might not see it. I'll drop it again here. It's in the group chat. It's right here. And I will give that over to you again because I know you were just a little late to the party, if you will. It's this form right here. So that way, just drop any questions you have in there and I'll make sure I answer them. I'm going to start doing the form for every class we do. That way I can keep track of your questions. So right now, Brian's installing WordPress. I know a lot of you, maybe you've done this before, so this is pretty basic. So this is on a website that we're using for, if you will, just staging. Staging means I'm building website, I'm outlining it for a client to see. We'll make edits. We'll also make sure it's no indexed, and I'll show you how to do that. And then once they approve it, we'll migrate it, and we'll show you what plugins we use for migration to make that simple as well. And then once it's migrated, we obviously delete it. And there's one more plugin you can use to delete it and wipe it clean for yourself. All right, so we just got done installing WordPress. Now we're going to go ahead and go over to the actual site, and we're going to start installing what we need. So let's say in step one, you had an actual, let's say you're starting with a blank theme. Our next step that we're going to do now that we got WordPress is we're going to install Astra Pro onto our website. Everything we do, we're using Astra Pro. So Gutenberg, they actually do have blocks, etc., that you can use. However, what happens with a lot of those blocks is it makes it code heavy. Anytime you make a site code heavy, which is what Elementor does, Divi does, etc., adds a bunch of CSS and JavaScript, which tends to load it down and makes it slower, and then your core vitals suck. Okay, it may make it pretty, but your core vitals will suck. And then that affects your page speed, which then affects your mobile speed, which then affects your SEO rankings, okay? I've seen time and again, Trevor even mentioned it just in an earlier chat. He went and said, he was having us rebuild a site. Why? Because his ranking suffered after the core vitals. And I've had many people contact me in that regard. So All right, Brian, go ahead and open up Rank Fortress AI. Got it. Open up Rank Fortress AI. Okay. I can't see it. Let's go over. I'm not seeing it, Brian. So open up that window. I'm going to stop share. Just open up your screen. It is an Astra Pro is a builder. It's not a theme. I'm not seeing it. So unshare your screen and then reshare it. Okay. That way we can see it. Yeah, but everything we use Astra. We just don't use all the building blocks, etc. Because when you start using all the building blocks and Gutenberg, it slows it down. Go ahead and share your screen. If y'all want to know what I'm looking at right. Brian's on my right. So he's going to start sharing his screen. All right. So we have a blank template, right? This is blank. There's no plugins except what comes with WordPress. There's no themes, nothing. All right. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to install Astra Pro. We're going to install Astra Pro. So you're going to go to your dashboard. On the left-hand side, you'll see where it says My Blog. You click on Dashboard. First thing we want to do before that, though, before you install that, Brian, is go over to your Appearance, where it says Appearance on the left-hand side. Yep. Give me 1 second. Go to Appearance, and you're going to go Settings. So go to Settings first before we do anything. Settings, far left. There you go. Internet's being unstable. So if y'all lose me, why? And we'll be back. But if we lose each other, that's why. So we want to scroll down all the way down to the bottom. All the way down, Brian. Scroll, scroll, scroll. Okay. And then you see where it says, go to reading. It says on the left-hand side underneath settings where you say reading, click on reading. Admit, Carl, where it says reading right there. And then you're going to hit discourage search engines from indexing this site and make sure that's checked off. Right, and then we're going to hit save changes. This will no index this. It is a staging site, so we do not want this being indexed while we're building it in the search engines. Okay, so that's very important that you do that. Next thing you're going to do is install Astra. We've already installed Astra. We can go back and redo it if you need to see it again, but we've already installed Astra. You simply go to plugins. Okay, and or a theme in this instance, not plugin, and hit add new. And then once we hit add new, we upload our zip file, and that's it. And we just hit activate. So now it's activated. Now we have Astra Pro installed. And the next thing we're going to do is add the ultimate or install the ultimate add-on Gutenberg with Astra Pro. All right. So we go to plugins and hit add new. And once we're there, we're just going to, once we go there, we're simply going to upload the plugin. One of the questions was Zoom hiccup when I said lax. Did you get rid of lax? No, I was saying I am getting rid of the lax because I have 3 accounts on HawkHost. So there's Gutenberg Blocks Ultimate add-ons for Gutenberg. We're going to hit install now, and we will install that. Okay, now we're going to activate it. By activating it, you're just hitting activate, and you can choose what you want to activate. We're going to activate everything. Okay. There is Astra, and then there's Astra Pro. Astra Pro is going to be an upgrade, and you will need it if you want to make what we're going to be showing you. By the end of this, you will have a template that I will be putting in the back end, so you will have a base to literally do anything you want with. Okay. Next step, we're going to be going down here. You need to set your website title, your website tagline, and all that jazz. Okay. Some of this is part of SEO, but we go over to settings and we hit general. And there we're going to say, for example, in this case, let's call it, I don't know, just figure something out there, Brian. Name it, willywonka.com or something. I don't care. Gutenberg web design class, right? And you can remove the tagline, or you can set a tagline, whatever you want to do. And then don't touch your site URL, and do not touch your site address. Your administrative email address should be where you want all your emails to go. So you want to change that if ever. But while we're building it out, it will be going to my email address. And once we're done that, we scroll down to the bottom and we hit save changes. All right, now once we're done with that, we're going to go to permalinks. In settings, you will see on the far left-hand side where you just click permalinks. Permalinks basically means, this is where I talk in SEO, is your URL structure pretty? Is it short? Is it pretty? We don't want it to say, P equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 2001/07, blah, blah, blah. I want it to say whatever my page's name, my post. Most people understand this. Every page is a post, and every post is a post when it comes to when it comes to web design and structure. Okay. So we want to choose under permalinks where it says post name. Once we do that, we hit save changes. Okay. And in the SOP, by the way, I have screenshots of all this. So if you're taking notes, you feel free to do so, but the SOP has all that in there. Okay. Next, we're going to go over to the dashboard on the left-hand side where it says appearance, right? We're going to click on that and we're going to hit customize. This is before we start creating anything. We're going to customize it. And we're going to set some settings in here, okay? So in the settings, we're going to set our typography, which means your text, your fonts, okay? What colors we want it to be, what sizes we want it to be, everything, okay? So what type of font family do we want it to use? What size we want it to use? All that jazz. So just pick one, Brian. It doesn't really matter as long as it's, good to go. We're doing a setup today, and starting tomorrow, we're actually going to show you pages being built out. By the time we're done, you will actually see a complete site with the optimization, everything. So next, after typography, he's choosing typography, and we're going to get, that taken care of and everything, and the colors taken care of. And we'll show you all that. So base typography, we can choose the color under theme color, and change it to whatever we want, right? What link color you want it to be, links being your hyperlinks. What color do you want your headers, your H1s and H6s to be? I always choose black, or at least black or very dark gray. At minimum. And this, always hit publish. So put publish every time you do something like that, because God forbid electricity go down like it does in the Philippines, you have your shit saved and not lost. Okay. So on this is your container. Think of a container as your header area. You got a container, your body area or your bullet points area is another container, your footer is another area. Inside your container, you set it to boxed, which means just this little area right here, or full width. Full width is generally what we want and what we want to go with, okay? So we're going to do full width contained, and or you can do full width stretch, but full width contained is what we want. And once we do that, we're going to hit publish again. You know, we'll get to your questions as they come in. Okay, go ahead and pause real quick. Y'all can continue watching him, but he's just going through basic, the setup, the colors, everything else. Don't go to the header and footer just yet, Brian, because we want to get through all this. But Patrick said, how do you get a development area? You need a website URL. Let's say mine is rankfortress.ai, which I'm going to create subdomain names on, which I can then do staging and site development on. Okay. And that's what we do. I have several domains that all I do is site development on. All right, so let's say we want to build out our menus next. Let me pull that up from the SOP. Next, for example, we're going to build out our menus. We're going to create a menu because our menu is what is in our header. It's what's in our structure. It's how I structure when I teach y'all according to the GCID, what services, tips, books, whatever you're trying to get, sell, or what services you're trying to push. You're going to call it main menu. And you're going to make that your primary menu. And then you're going to hit next. All right. Now, once we start adding pages, then we'll be able to create and add those pages in there as well for our main menu. And we'll show you how to do that with custom links or what have you, etc. So once we get that one wrapped up, we'll go to the next one, etc. We'll go to the next thing, which is going to be setting up your header and building out your header. What we want to get done in today's class is really the header, the footer, the body, and all these things set up, okay? So now in the header, we're going to be dropping in a logo. You can just use a sample logo for now. We select our logo and upload an image to there, right? And grab one real quick, just choose a generic logo. Any questions, just make sure to drop them in on the form because I am checking it as we go. So this is just going to be a sample logo that we're going to grab and use. We upload it. Once we click the button, you just hit upload, and we're going to hit select, and we're going to hit skip cropping. We don't want it to crop per se right now. If you were actually doing this, etc., you can, depending on the logo, is the logo stacked or is it long? I prefer logos that are long, not stacked. Because when they're stacked this way, they tend to push the page down, and I don't want them to push the page down. I tend to want logos this way. Okay, so we got a logo in there, and the next thing, do you want to display the site title? You're going to hit no. I don't want the site title being displayed. That's only if you're going to have no logo. I really don't want site titles being displayed. Okay. Let me go back over to my SOP. So we're going to build out the header completely and lay that completely out. Put your icons, etc., all in there. Anything you want. Social media. Think of things that I would put in there would be your address, phone number, social media icons, everything. On the top right-hand side, that's what you call a hamburger menu. Sometimes another thing we'll want to put in there too is going to be the phone, the clickable phone, okay? So Brian, we're going to be putting a clickable phone number in there as well. Any questions, just make sure you drop them in on the question and I will definitely get them to you. Do you create a subdomain directly in WordPress? I create the subdomain in your hosting account. Okay, if you need to know how to create a subdomain name, I'll make a tutorial just on that. Let me bold that question and I will follow up with the video showing y'all how to do that later, okay? But I'll definitely show you how to do that, Patrick. All right. So we're going in, you can choose the color of your menu. So you want something that's going to pop so people see it, you know. It's not very, I mean, it's really not complicated per se. But the header and the footer is what we're going to want to get pushed out. Okay. You're welcome, Patrick. And if you have any questions that I can't get to today, I will be keeping this spreadsheet because I'm going to be using this to quote unquote make some video tutorials, and I'll be putting them on my live channel and stuff like that. So, all right. So let's keep moving along, Brian. Just get the header built out, and y'all just make sure you follow. And we're going to just put some questions in, and I'll make sure we go over all of it as far as the header. Right now, we're just concentrating on the header. Yeah, it's okay. I know you lost sound. I'm still here. I'm just letting, he's building out the header for you guys so y'all could see the process. You do it all inside of the header. And building it, you know, you can add your social icon. I'm gonna add a phone that's clickable. You didn't lose me. Appreciate you, buddy. If you lose me, it's because you're gonna lose me in. That happens. Just realize I'll come back as soon as we can. So still good. On top of that, our internet's, you know, chopping out a little bit. So right now, for example, Brian is just setting up the hyperlinks in the main menu. So for example, when it's active or you're on that specific page, it's going to be black. If it's been hovered over, we want it to change to a different color. You can change that. If you want it clicked on and it's going to change to a different color, and you see as he's moving his mouse, it's going to change color. Okay. You could change that to whatever, but if it was me doing it, I do a lot of black and reds, and y'all know that because that's my theme, if you will. And, you know, now we're just going to set everything up. And we have a call button, if you will, on the top right-hand side, because I always want a call button. And I usually want my buttons to be big, bright red, bright yellow, bright green, something that pops where people are going to go, hey, I need to push that shit so I can give them a call or I can fill out a contact form, something. All right. You know, this is what I want. You know, I don't want them just to be on my site and not take any action. And I'm pretty sure in Gutenberg, it's automatically, let's go ahead and can we make that a sticky menu as well? So in our, no, it's okay. We'll do that later then. We'll do that after the fact. Just want to make sure. So we'll do that after we get our header completely set up. That's your lorem ipsum, if you will. We're using that as a logo right now. But so when you go on your, if you now go onto mobile, you know, as you're building a website out too, is very important. to check how does it look on mobile? Is the logo size right? Is the phone number where it should be? Is the menu popping up? Because you don't want to be building this and then turn to find out it looks like crap on mobile, okay? So right now we're changing how big do we want the logo size? You know, do we want the icons to be thin? The hamburger menu's real thin, or how do we want it? Do we want it to pop? You know, stuff like that. All right, and change the background color of that header and add some social icons. Really cool thing is whenever you're inside of this dashboard, and let's say, for example, you see this, I'll show you when it comes back up again next time I see it, but there's a little pin tool that will pop up. Go back over there, Brian, over where the Facebook icon is so they can see that. Nope. Over right here where the Facebook icon is. Right there. You see that pin? So if I click on that, it just enables me to edit that area. It's kind of like if you're already there, it's telling, just click on that and you're telling it, I want to edit this section, okay? So we're adding in, for example, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and if we were to click on any of these things on the left-hand side, we can actually put the URL in there as well. If we want to add a different social icon, we're going to go in and we can choose icon and we can add that additional icon like Dabble or Behance or whatever. Just do a search and you're going to find the icon that you want. I mean, you got email, we got phones, everything. So you click on the name like Twitter or Facebook and you put in your URL, and that makes it so when they actually click on it, it takes them to that social media link. Okay. Now, if we could, Brian, change the background color, if you will, where the logo is and the menu. Does the location of the social, to me, it doesn't. The social media icons, it doesn't matter necessarily where it's at. Okay. So another question while he's doing this is WordPress 5.8 came out today. It doesn't affect, if anything, it helps. And I've been pushing a lot of information about that coming out. They've actually seen about a 30% increase in your Lighthouse scores. When it comes to Lighthouse, you need to do it in incognito and mainly do it on mobile is what I'm concerned with, but do it on both of them, okay? Sergio, just make sure you do it on both of them, but very specifically, the mobile is what I'm looking for. And we want to do it in incognito because if you have extensions, and 99% of us do, running it on your non-incognito window and having those extensions, it will affect your score. Okay, you don't want that. You want a true reading of your score. Okay, so now we got, if you will, we got the top part, social media. We have our logo area. We have our menu. We have our call to action button. We have it mobile and everything else. So now let's go to the next part if we could and save this, publish it. And the next part I would want to do would be, if you will, the footer. So inside the footer, okay, I just want to make sure. So Sergio's asking about the score on Lighthouse. It depends on your location as well and where you're located at, what server you're pulling from, etc. So that's another reason why we'll do that. We'll run like at least 1 to 2 of them, and then I'll also check on a mobile speed, and then I'll also use a VPN to check from the US as well. So I do a couple of things because I am in the Philippines. But so we're going to build the footer. The footer, we want generally maybe 1, 2, 3 columns. We'll add a menu sometimes. We'll add, sometimes a Google map. We'll add, privacy, terms of service, Those various things we'll add in there for everybody, and we go from there. So let's go through all this. So we're going to add in a couple of widgets. Sometimes you want a separate menu even for the footer. So for example, I may just want, certain pages listed in the footer, which I don't necessarily agree with doing because it's been shown that Google is giving less and less authority to links or hyperlinks in the footer. So, but you can do it, and you can do it, we'll just add, let's say, home, about us, contact us. And we can do so with actual text or code or widgets. We can add an image and say, follow us, and put social icons. We can do a bunch of different stuff, but overall, don't want it too complicated. If you look at most of what I do things really simple. This is also an area where, let's say, if I wanted to actually put that my business, Rank Fortress, built this website, I could install a hyperlink and say SEO done by, or web design done by Rank Fortress, and hyperlink it. I don't encourage that, mainly because I don't think you should personally be putting hyperlinks on people's shit, but that's just my personal thing. If they paid you for it, why are you trying to drop your link in there unless you get their permission? And a lot of business owners hate that crap. You're right, Scott. And I get that all the time. People want to just remove it. So we're going to build out the footer. Let's embed, just do some social media. We're going to embed maybe a Google map and put that in there as well. Going back to you, Sergio, that's another reason why, even when you're running a GT metrics, you need to be able to change the where you're running it from. It's generally straight on Canada, or is it going to be in the US? And you can even get down to, if your business is located in Texas, you need to get hosting located in Texas. You can do a lot of stuff like that where you go, I want my server for my hosting to be located in the same state that my business is located. It's pretty crazy, but just click on any of them, and that one is totally different. It's an old one. Grab, let's say, not that one. Go to just embed map. Right there it says send a link or embed map. This is an old Rank Fortress test. So you go over there, you're going to grab the embed map. Okay, so now we have the iframe if we want. We go back to our Gutenberg. And if anyone's wanting to know, yes, I permanently closed that one. I'm opening up a main location in Manila, which is the main city of the Philippines, because it's going to hold more authority in the latitude and longitude and stuff like that. So now we have the map over there on the right hand side. Give you an example. So if you ever wanted to change the size of the map inside the code, if you will hover over to the code right down here at the very bottom where it says height or width is 600, height is 450. You could actually edit it and change it to be whatever size you want it to be there. Okay, so let's say I want it to be smaller. I don't want it as tall. I want it as wide. I can change it there. So let's say the height's 250 or 350 or whatever. There you go. We have a logo. We have our menu in there. We now have our, if you will, map there. We also are going to, let's throw in some social icons. I have tested Cadence with Gutenberg. I don't personally care for Cadence, and I know it's pretty popular. I have no personal reasons other than I just don't use it. I need to do things at scale, and anytime we change things, my web design my whole team has to relearn it. So imagine teaching, let's say, different people all how to now build websites in Cadence versus what we're already using. So that's why we tend not to do it. So we're going to change the color of our footer. We can change the border color to whatever we want, as long as it's going to match. Okay, we're going with black and gray on this one. And so now we have our header. Now we have our footer. Okay, and we've added in our social icon. We use a little bigger, Brian. Interest in Cadence, what we possibly do is learn that, and well, I'd like to see that class on another time. We can actually do that as well. We can embed the map in the footer. It just depends. I mean, depending on what we're going to do. Sometimes I'll embed the map in, I just mainly want it on the homepage and contact page. I could care less. I honestly don't usually put it in the map. I mean, I don't usually put the map in the footer per se, but just wanted to show y'all how to do that real quick. So let me go back over to our SOP. Right. So once we've done all this, we got our header, we got our footer. You know, we're adding in our contact information, which is your name, address, phone number. Make sure that matches your GMB, okay? Always want to make sure it matches our GMB, always. Okay. Once we've done with that, we're just putting in generic right now. Now the next step we're going to do, we're actually going to stop for today, and tomorrow we're going to get into adding in blocks in, if you will, the bullet area, which is the middle area. If you will, it's the meat. It's where between the two pieces of bread. You know, we do this pretty basic because I want y'all to be able to understand it on a basic level. That's how I learn, and it's how I understand things. I don't tend to use, if you will, all these complicated bullshit terms that everybody else uses. So we got a header, we got a footer, we got our social links. Scroll all the way up to the top if you could. You know, how would it look on a mobile device? You know, we want to make sure it looks good on mobile. We got our footer. This is on mobile. You know, so we make sure everything's going to be good. We're eventually going to get rid of some of the other stuff, but for now we've gotten this done. So tomorrow what we're going to actually be doing, we're going to take and we're going to actually start building a website. We're going to take the website, we have the header, we got the footer. Now we're going to take and start building the guts, if you will, the middle part of the entire site. If you have any questions, now's your time to ask. You can go ahead and stop sharing. Brian, we're good to go. We will be getting rid of, if you will, the other parts that's in the guts right now, which is the tags. And let's go. I mean, we got 10 more minutes. Go ahead, Brian. You can share some more. So we're going to do now, since we only got 10 minutes left, it won't take that long. But Brian, just go ahead and start sharing again. So what we're going to do next, because a lot of people don't know how to do this, how are we going to make this so we can get rid of the search, the recent posts, recent comments, all that crap that's showing up on the right-hand sidebar, because we don't want none of the crap on our homepage, right? So we want to make sure that we're going to create our first page, and then we're going to associate the website in our appearance with the homepage. Right now, what it's doing is it's showing you the post page or your blog page. Okay, so the first thing we're going to have to do is create a home page for everything to go to. This is where, so don't do it just yet, Brian. So let's say this is where, if it was a havoc, or this is where, for example, give you an example, if you are a plumber and your GCID is plumber, let's just enter in this. We're going to name this plumber. Okay, so your title is going to be plumber. Okay, so add title up at the top, Brian, to plumber, just for an example. Instead of just calling it some generic thing and calling it home. Okay, now once we've done that and we save it and publish it, we're going to go back to our settings and we're going to customize this so it will show up on the home page, and we're going to assign this plumber as our home page. Reason why we're doing this, and I've went over this in our class, is we want our home page to be associated with our GCID, which we can find out what the category is based off of Plepper. Okay, you want your main GCID to be associated with Plepper. Now we want to go in, we want to get rid of that sidebar, and we want to customize it and do what we got to do to get rid of it. Okay. On the right hand side, we're going to customize the settings and get rid of the sidebar. That'll be the next step. Once you're done with that, we'll get rid of, we'll go ahead and move on to the next part. So now you have nothing. There's no sidebar, there's no jazz, no crap sitting there or anything. When do I put the footer in the map and why? I put it in there if they don't have location pages, which I don't work with too many people that don't have location pages. So that should tell you how often I do it that way. You have A2 hosting. I've heard of A2 hosting, but I don't use them too much. I mean, matter of fact, A2 hosting was the cause of an issue with a WordPress plugin, the Black Hat plugin that I sell as well. So I don't use A2 plugin. I'm in A2 hosting. So once we get this sidebar done, we will be done. So it's done. So your home page is plumber. But for right now, we're going to leave it as that. But let's say it was plumber in Cincinnati, plumber in Baltimore, plumber in whatever. And we'll get to that part and show you how to edit this. And we could actually go to the pages and edit it. And there's multiple things we can do. I'll be sending in, I'll show you, and I'll post in the back end. Once we're done, this video will be uploaded. The hosting I'm talking about with Hawk Host will be back there. Your SOPs will be back there and everything. And tomorrow we'll be actually showing you how to now take this site, if you will, and we're going to start building out the blocks and everything. And we're going to be working on a medical website, I believe, tomorrow, right, Brian? Yeah, it's a medical website. We got to literally clone it, so it's perfect. We're going to be taking that site and building it out completely. So now you see how we build out, if you will, the header, the footer, and all that jazz, and we should be good. Go ahead and disable Brian. If you have any questions for Brian, go ahead, feel free to ask away, and he will answer any questions you may or may not have. All right, do I set it up where it hides the title? That way you're forced to build the title in the builder. Yes, we will be getting to that in tomorrow's class, where we're actually building out and cloning this specific website. This specific website that we're building, it was in Duda, I believe. Duda, yep. It was in Duda, algorithm hit, and he's seen a drop in his rankings. So it's a pretty good one to teach y'all on, because when you're having to clone a website, you need to be pay very close attention to making sure your URL structure is the same, your page structure is the same, interlinking is the same. You copy all your blogs, press releases, everything, okay? In plumbing category, yes, that's going to be my main H1. That's going to be my main homepage in that specific instance. So I build the foundation first before I do any design. I'm not doing nothing. So when and I'll also put my onboarding form in the back. So when we're going to build out a site and someone comes to us, we go, for example, show me 3 sites you like and why. Do you like the color? Do you like the layout? Do you like the functionality? And based off of that, we build the site in development. We don't build it in Photoshop. We don't build it in design. We don't lay it out. We don't do no fucking storyboards or anything like that, okay? We build it inside of our development stage. So next question. Please make a subdomain creation video. Yep, I already said I'd do that, Patrick. I'm going to do that for you. And we'll have that one done. Any other questions? Make sure to drop them in form, okay? Drop them in the form, because this is where I'm keeping track. Breadcrumbs. Brian, they want to know, do you use breadcrumbs or not?
I use it for when we are creating services pages.
Only for services
Yes,
pages, right?
service. And also, I think I'm not using it in the homepage.
Yeah, no on the homepage, but services pages, stuff like that, location pages, service pages, any of the sub pages. Okay. Um, yeah, Brian's been. I mean, when he first came to me, I had Brian doing. Forget what you were doing. Content,
Backlinks.
backlinks, and doing SEO, and then I found out he actually liked doing web design, and then he built a site out. I think in a day or two, and then I said, "Yeah, we're going to switch you over to website design." Um, you're on vacation, Trevor, starting tomorrow. Will I be able to ask questions? Yes. Just send them over to me in my email, Trevor, and I will definitely answer them, and I'll definitely ask Brian as well. Or you can just message. If you message me, I'll have them put into that form as well, and I'll get to them during class, so you can see them answered even during class. So listen, guys, it's been good. If you have any other questions, drop them in the group or in the form, and I'll get to them. Okay, e-commerce. I will, I'm not covering e-commerce in this class, but, and here's why, because it's too complicated to be doing in 5 days of building a site and 5 days of e-commerce. E-commerce alone will take at least 5 days. So what I will wind up doing is we'll do this class, and if I get enough interest in doing e-commerce, then I will do another one on e-commerce, Gareth. Um, yeah, Dan's like, let's do another class tonight. I have to do another class tonight. I'm doing 3 today. 3 for the next 5 days, brother. So it's been good, and I will talk to you guys soon. As soon as this is done, I'll be uploading it on the back end, and I will see y'all tomorrow. And I appreciate you guys. If you have any questions, remember to drop them into this form, okay? Drop into that form, and I will answer them. And I appreciate you guys, and y'all be blessed and have a good one.